wabi-sabi. It's on your list. Let your electronic devices ready down. Yes, Andrew. Yeah, there we go. Andrew is an artist, an illustrator, educator, and nerd, which aren't we all? I'm a ballet dancer. I'm a nerd. That's just right off the bat. Teaches at Miami University, Middletown. He also works as a youth arts program coordinator at Rosewood Arts Center. He is happily married to Kelly Dailey. Together they run Funk Lab Dance Center in Catarine. And our proud parents, his son Liam and daughter Phoenix. Tonight, Andrew presents Random Thoughts on My Art and Nerding. What a great title.
Thanks. I am grossly underprepared for this presentation. So I thought I would stick to what I know best and hit you guys with the bowl cut. This is more or less a story of random things that I feel have kind of shaped the artist I am at the present. The bowl cut was a big influence. I thought my mom knew everything, and I let her cut my hair, and dragon pendant was cool. These are just some of my influences. I was convinced for a long time that I was going to be like an amazing comic book artist. That didn't happen. And I don't really know why I ever thought that, because the drawings I made when I was in high school were terrible. And if I were my own drawing student now, I would have failed myself. They were that bad, and I was a really big jerk when I was young. More of my influences, Steve McNiven on the left, Jeff Darrow in the middle, and Travis Truss on the left side there. I've kind of come back to comic books after a long hiatus of other random stupidity. That's not me on the left there. That's Sadhol. I gave up on comic books for two reasons. One, I cannot articulate, and the other is that my comic collection was destroyed in the flood. And I just thought, you know what, that's thrown in the towel. It was so devastating to me that all my comic books were destroyed that I just gave up on them altogether. So I thought when I went to college, I discovered like realism, and I had this naive idea that I was just going to be like a realist with a capital R. Some more of my influences, and this is, at one point I would have called my mature influences, Lucian Freud, Antonio Lopez Garcia there in the center, and Ewan Nuglo on the left. I really admire those guys. And then I started to think back on comic books again and how they influenced my work, and started looking at other artists. Neo Rock on the left there, and Vincent Desiderio, or excuse me, Neo Rock on the right, Vincent Desiderio on the left. They just, you know, the sensibility there to me reflected comic panels. These are my own paintings. I really, after a long period of trying to come up with a profound, articulate way to explain what I do, where my ideas come from, I realized that I'm like one part artist and like 3 or 4 parts Homer Simpson. And the stuff that works best is always the stupidest idea. These are just some other random pieces. You know, so I thought, well, I'll grow a mustache just to paint myself with a mustache. That seems like a pretty dumb idea. And I felt like really happy about that. Anytime I have like a grand like art with a capital A idea, it falls flat and the work sucks. And I feel really ashamed of myself for a long time about it. This stuff strangely got me into graduate school. I don't know how. It was really just like, I'll come up with a dumb inside joke that I or my friends have and make art about that rather than pursuing something that might be worthwhile and a profound message to other people. So I thought, well, I'll just put things on my face and paint that because that seems like, you know, good enough for me. Not wabi-sabi, but good enough. Good enough for grad school. So I used myself as a model because I was always there on time every time. I worked cheap. I heard from a professor in graduate school that my work was too masculine. So I painted a painting of myself painting balls on the floor of my studio. That's not the punchline. The punchline is that a museum purchased that painting. And now the great folks of Evansville, Indiana get to look at it all the time. Again, I sort of like am developing, people are telling me all this stuff, I'm reading a lot of philosophy and all these other things that are great, and then keep coming back to these dumb ideas. It was like, what if I made traps and people were stupid and bait, you know, they get tricked into getting trapped with bait for dumb reasons. And then I abandoned all that and thought, what would it look like if I crossed motorcycle. That prompted my favorite body of work to this point in my whole life. Genus Machina is what I call these drawings. A series of these, the end game is to hopefully combine them into this fictitious dumb book. And then, again, the idea is sort of like adaptation. What if animals could adapt to their environment through technology the way people do? But really, I wanted to see what a donkey and a motorcycle would look like combined. So you can see that kind of thread throughout. And then my midlife crisis, I think, is happening right now. I decide, okay, I'm going to put that stuff on hold, and I'm going to I'm going to start doing some comic book illustration again. The complete hair loss hasn't happened yet, but neither has the sports car, so I'm looking forward to that part of it when that comes around. I'm a big nerd. I got back into role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons. I play a more obscure game than that, which makes me a bigger nerd, I think. Up on the left is the guy that created the game Rifts. My friend and I built this table so we could play our nerd games in his basement. Thanks, Ryan. My dedication to my nerds. My kids have no chance at all. That's a picture of myself and my daughter. She's wearing Marvel Comics print dress that Mommy made with me at a comic book convention. So like I said, out of the gates, no chance, sorry kids. And then here's my office where I somehow have built this shrine to Wolverine and the X-Men. Again, because I'm dumb and I have nothing better to do. Other illustrations, again, I thought, well, it's been a really long time. What would happen if I drew some comic book illustrations after having not done it for like 15 or 16 years? And this was the first way this happened over the summer. My wife is like, what is going on with you? And I don't know if it's just the pressure of becoming a parent or not being able to come up with good ideas and I don't capitalize on the dumb ones. I'm not really sure. Wolverine, I've got like a 15-year-old me obsession with this character. I'm not really sure why, but the more I think about it, the weirder that becomes to me. But, again, more examples here. And then Iron Man and Spider-Man because, again, just a huge nerd and I cannot focus on serious stuff. That's it.